Hi everyone, so today I have this new set to share with you from Diamond Press that is now available there on HSN. It's the stamps and die kit the Dragonfly stamps and die kit, and Diamond Press did send these items free of charge from review, and of course all opinions are my own, and any links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items through those links, so thanks for doing that if you can. Yeah, so all the different things that Diamond Press brought for the August craft shows and new releases are now available, so I'll have them all linked in the description box. And excuse me, this is the last of the launches that I'll have to show you for August. So just gorgeous. I mean, there's some layering here I can see, and then we have the dies to cut. So we have the dragonflies, the wings and things, and the little body. We have our little flowers that we can you know, stamp and color and things and cut out. And then it looks like there's like a skeleton type of die there. We have the word dreams, and then like stamps like live your dreams or however, so we'll look at that in just a minute. When a dragonfly appears, it's a visitor from heaven. May your spirit soar. Let your dreams take flight. So these are all sentiment stamps. And then we have like these fun backgrounds. I really like that, like distressed looking kind of like splotches, and then like this little kind of netting. And they have some idea here. Oh, I like that. That's cute because you have the stamp in the background and then you have the words on top. So let's check out the stamps and then we'll talk about the other items. So there they are. And just to give you an idea of how big like this little, you know, kind of just background distressed stamp. Pop it here and there. It's 3.5 by almost 2.5. And then this is like a little maybe 2 3/8 inch square or so. Again, it's just for distressing like the background. Then you have your sentiments, which are a really nice size, you can see there. Little flowers. And then here we have the larger sentiments here. And then our little guys. So again, you have the body, and you can also stamp like... I keep misspeaking today. I was talking about the bodies, and I'm pointing at this. What I meant is you have the little body here, and then you can stamp like the wings. This guy, I believe... These two belong together. You can see it's a little shorter. And then this one, and then just different portions of that wing. Nice little bouquet. Again, your sentiments. And then we have the dies for everything with the words there. Dreams. Again, the little kind of skeleton background guy, and then all the different dies that'll cut out the other pieces. And this one with the wings, looks like you can cut them out separately. That's what they're showing you here. That's really cool. And I believe, just looking at it, this one cuts out, you put that on top, and then the one you put in the background will give you that extra bit, or vice versa, but we'll see when we get there. Really cool. And then it comes, of course, with a marquee cutting folder. And again, this is for the marquee cutting system, but if you have any system that cuts thin metal dies, you can put these in that system, because all thin metal dies pretty much run through every machine that does that, right? That can accommodate thin metal dies. So what I'm going to do is grab some paper and we will get started. Okay, guys, so I think I'll make a A2 size card. Again, I have a card base here that's already made. It's 8.5 by 5.5 square at 4 1/4. I need to cut down this piece of paper here, and you don't have to use white paper. I mean, you can start with something more, you know, just different, eclectic, and go from there. But I'm going to start with white, and I'm going to use that little netted background, and I'm just going to stamp it really just willy-nilly, like I'm not going to use a stamp position or anything like that, and then we'll go from there. So we have this guy, and I'm going to use kind of like this brighter yellow color. So it's really going to kind of blend in the background. Actually, I'm going to take this to this. I'm going to kind of rub it on here just to make sure everything has ink on it, and then I'll pat, pat, pat. If you want to use your stamp positioner, you know, go for it. But for me, I'm just going to put that there and just let it be kind of rough and fun in the background, okay? So you can see it's just not super perfect. It's just kind of there. Okay, and then let me clean this up, and then I'm going to stamp, I think maybe with the other distress one too. I'll be right back. Just going to use like some fresh pops of color. Where's my green? Here we go. Like this little lime green color here. And it doesn't have to be on there perfectly, but I'm just going to pop that on there. Just get a little bit of color. Just kind of pop that over here. I go off the side there, and maybe some over here just to accent that. Okay, so it's just a little something in the background. And let me clean this up and I'll be right back. I'm doing this a little bit opposite of what I normally do. Usually I do all like the embellishment pieces that I'm going to use, and then I bring in my sentiments and, you know, pull it all together. I'm going to put this to the side for a moment. And let's see. May your dreams take flight. Go with that one. And I am going to use a stamping press this time, just so that if I need to redo my sentiment, I can do that easily. So let's put these guys here. And I'm going to pop that kind of in the center here. And of course I'll bring in like my dragonflies around wherever. So, and you can make it more fun though too if you want. Kind of like that. Dragonflies. You know what, let's put it there. Why not? Pick that little guy up. And I'll stamp that in some black ink, and I'll use this VersaFine ink. Just ink that up and bring it over. And give that a nice press. Alright, and there it is. And of course, since I use VersaFine, I'm going to have to let this dry just a little bit, or we can put some embossing powder to set it, but I'm just going to leave it for a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, in the meantime, I cut down a piece of paper. Actually, I'm going to cut this down a little bit smaller. So I have this teal piece that's like, I think I'd cut it 4 1/4 by 5 3/8, which is basically the same size as what I already have here. So I'm going to trim that down a little bit too, so I can mat it over this. And you can take the, even just like the dragonfly stamps and do maybe some background stamping like with a very light color, because it's basically a complete body, and then you can even layer it with the other little body, just like a very light color, so it'll still be in the background, you know? That'd be really pretty. Or make them really bold and just have that be the stamping, right? Okay. So this guy, I'm just going to take it to my trimmer and trim it down. We're going to use this again in a little bit here. To 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so I'll just take a little bit off whichever side or sides. Something like that. 4. And I'll trim it off the top here, 5 1/4. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my card base with that pretty teal popping up. We have our card base. And I'm just going to create the larger dragonfly. And I grabbed some vellum paper, and I grabbed some matte metallic paper, because you can stamp on these with an embossing powder and all that. And I haven't done that in a while, so let's try it out today. This is some really thick vellum. It's 150 GSM. Really good stuff. And I am going to stamp with gold ink. I just realized I hadn't grabbed the gold ink that I was preparing to stamp with. And then heat set it with some gold embossing powder, so it's a lot of gold. You can just do clear watermark ink and, you know, colored embossing powder, or colored pigment ink with clear embossing powder, however you want to mix those, but today I'm doing gold and gold to get it really nice and crisp. And, you know, this does have a second body that you would stamp, right? So if I stamp this and I stamp that, or I stamp that first and then stamp this over it, I'm just going to go with the gold detail and see how that looks, okay? So let's, I guess I could trim this down. I don't need this big piece of paper. And I will do the exact same thing with the matte metallic. But I am going to take a little bit of embossing buddy. We are going to cut a lot of it away, but these help so that the powder doesn't stick to everything but where you want it to. And then we have this guy. And I'll put that there. And it's going to pick them up. And again, I'll do the same thing with the second set of wings. This is the larger guy. You could also stamp something else first if you want to do the body still, and then do this. But you would have to wait for it to be dry and all that to move on. I'm going to use the back of my hand since I don't know where my little buddy is. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. And basically, what we'll do is get this, we'll put that, we'll put our gold embossing powder, And I just put like a ton, and then I kind of pour it this way. That way I just don't have a whole lot to put back. And stick there, and give it a little bit of a tap. And I tap that, and there we go. Embossing buddy doing its job, pretty good. Okay, and then I can funnel this back into the bottle when I'm ready to do that. And I just want to, I know a lot of this is going to be cut away, but this one's pretty close. Let's just get rid of those little guys, that one too. Okay, and then I'll heat set it, and again, that's just taking your heat tool and applying the heat, and as it turns shiny gold, move on to the next area. Okay, I'll be back, and I'll do the exact same thing with the wings, but I'll show you that in just a minute. That gorgeous thing, look at that. Again, the dye's going to cut it, so I think the body will be well, just fine without the second color. And this guy, we'll be fine on this one too. And then just this little guy. So again, just stamping it with the gold. I just want to show you which set of wings, because it's the only one I believe that's by itself like that. Yeah, so that set of wings there. I'll pick it up, ink it up, and all that good stuff. So, and then pour the embossing powder on, okay? And I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, and again, really nice. Just to, you know, as it turns gold, actually I can see I missed a spot right there. So just, it's like a little dull compared to everything else. There you go. Maybe this end too. Alright. So I'm going to let that set up. I'm going to funnel this back in, and then I'll get the dies for them so we can cut them out, guys. So we'll grab the dies. Again, this is just a pair of wings, so that's clearly this guy. And I will trim down this piece here. Now I can see pretty well right through there, but I do want it to be really perfect. So we'll check on that in just a minute. I'll show you what we can do. And this guy too. Again, you can see in there, but with the embossing, you know, sometimes it makes your paper a little bit wonky, so I'm going to make a quick little aperture. Okay, so all that means is I'm going to take like a piece of washi or whatever you like to use. That's a little bit big. And let's see where this would be best. Maybe like, oh, I don't want it touching that. Maybe there. You want to hinge it to a piece of scrap paper, basically. This one has a little different design to it, so it's a little bit harder to figure where I wanted to place that. Okay, and we're just going to run it through our machine. Well-loved folder, although, you know, your new sets always come with a new folder. And I'm going to run that through. Do it kind of quickly. Sorry if it shakes the camera. If you're going to drop shadow at all, you can just do this with the color that you're going to drop shadow with. That way you can reuse that little piece of paper. And what you're going to do is just place this over this, and I can see exactly where that's cutting. Now I cut this paper too big because I need a little bit of room to actually stick this down. So I'm going to cut away a little of this and see if that helps me out a little bit here. Sorry guys. Alright, so we trim that down a little bit, and again we're just going to place it, there we go. So the reason I made sure this tape wasn't sticking out, even though usually I do, I like it for it to stick out a little bit so it can stick to the image, is because we don't want to rip the embossing away from our image. With a slick surface like the metallic paper, that could happen, right? So let's put a little tape right there and a little tape here. I'm trying to catch some of that paper at the bottom. And it'll just give us a better idea if we're on track. And I'm going to hold it a little bit tight with my hands too, just because I didn't put too much tape as I roll it through. And we should have a better kind of idea of where we cut this little guy. That is, look at the way they have the thing, no kind of extra on this one. Wow, so just so pretty. I'm glad I did the aperture trick. So with this guy, excuse me, I'll do the same thing. I'll probably trim this down a little bit though, so I have some paper to stick to the other piece, since that piece is kind of small too. Again, just hinge it. Again, I'm trying to find a spot that maybe there. That part doesn't matter, but I'll run it through, and then I'll look through the little window and cut it out. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, guys. So again, try not to put tape on the embossed areas, and that's really important. Look at that. Pretty cool. Okay. Okay, so with these guys, I'm just going to glue them together Just put a little glue behind here and pop this on. I'm gonna let that set up for a moment. And what's really cool is, like, okay, I used the larger wings. Obviously that's the only one that's by itself, and then the larger guy. I think in the pictures here they're showing you to use maybe the smaller guy, or maybe it just looks like it's supposed to be out just because when you pick it up it looks a little bit different, but I think you can still pair them all up however you would like. But I'm gonna let that set up and I'll be right back. So we'll bring, oh, a little glue there, our little guy back over. I'm not going to manipulate him too much right now because it still probably is a little bit wet, but now I think I'm going to put him like somewhere there. Now it's up to you. Do you want to just glue down those wings there in the back and that way it's nice and sturdy, or do you want them to take a little flight too? So, you know, it's up to whatever it is you want to do. A lot of times I like giving them everything a little zhuzh, right? So, you know, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to put glue behind this little head, all in here, and just a little bit here and there. And I think I'll let that guy go right there. I'm going to hold that down and I'll be right back. Alright, so there we have it. Really artsy, really pretty. A lot of, you know, texture in the background. I mean, you can even run this through an embossing folder after you did all that and get more texture on it. That'd be really great. And then our beautiful little dragonfly. Again, you have all the flowers. You have the other dragonfly. You have the skeleton dragonfly. I mean, there's lots of things to play with here. The word dreams, which is really just gorgeous. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. I'll have images coming up. I'll have the links in the description box now that these are available. And thank you so much, Diane Press, for sending these items for review. Alright, guys, I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.